So one of the things I wanted to begin by speaking about this evening was the difference between a spiritual experience and a spiritual awakening, because they are very different things. I'm sure all of us in here would have had spiritual experiences. Maybe moments where we've experienced something much greater than ourselves. Maybe through love or through silence or through some kind of experience which really just kind of took you out of yourself. And for a moment you experienced something else rather than just the kind of familiar sense of self. And spiritual experiences are very important and can be very beautiful. You know, some people say, you know, I had this experience and I was in bliss for, you know, like 3 days or a week or a month or whatever it might be. And it was so beautiful, you know, every day I didn't want to sleep, or I just wanted to be in this experience of bliss. And, you know, I just want that to last forever, because that is what enlightenment is. That is what realization is. It is getting the most blissful experience to last forever. But it's another fairy tale. It's not true. It's just not true. And here we're in the business of speaking about truth. Here we're in the conversation about truth, not about fantasy, not about some kind of spiritual not about some kind of spiritual fantasy about reality. So what that means is that the reality of a spiritual awakening means a shift in consciousness. It means where you were previously identifying with yourself, that place is no longer where you are identified as yourself. That place has gone. And now you're identified in a different place inside yourself. This is the shift in consciousness that I'm encouraging, that I'm speaking about, and that I'm always pointing to. Because there is no such thing as an awake person. You cannot awaken as the person. If somebody is a person, they tell you, I'm an awake person, then I would encourage you to turn around and walk in the other direction as fast as you can. Because that can only be a spiritual ego. It can't be other than that. There is no such thing as an awake person. Awakening is to discover that within the kind of personal self, what we call the personal self, which is just our kind of surfaced expression, within that, at the core of that, there is this untouched presence, this natural presence. And for a period of time, we may feel like we are visiting that, and we are kind of getting in touch with that, but then we're going back to being the person that we believe ourselves to be. But over time, this will change inside you. This will change, and at a certain point, you will realize that your default state, your natural state, is resting inside the sense of presence. When you say I, you are referring to that state of presence inside you. You're not referring to the personal self. You are referring to the indwelling presence. So that is the first shift in consciousness from person to presence. And, you know, it takes some time to get established inside the state of presence. It may take many years to get established inside the state of presence. But once the awakening process has begun inside you, once you have discovered something else which is beyond the personal, then it's almost like that process has begun. Even if you say, no, I don't want the process, you know, I don't want the process, I've changed my mind. You can't stop it. You can't stop it. It's like the ball is running. The ball is moving. You can't stop that. But you can cooperate with it. You can cooperate with it. And you cooperate with it by joining with it as much as you're able to. Whenever you can, just come to rest inside your own being. Just be still and rest inside your own being. When you are established in the state of being, and that has become your kind of natural state, it just becomes so natural to you that it just feels like that is who you are. Then you can even begin to look and see what is even perceiving that. What is even conscious of this state of presence? What is here during every experience, whether presence is here or not? What is always here? That is the second shift in consciousness, the second kind of awakening, so to speak. And then the final awakening, which I've been speaking about somehow this month quite a lot, is the movement down and through. The movement down and through to open up the area, especially in the gut, where there's so much repressed trauma, there's so much repressed emotion, there's so much repressed conditioning. And the third awakening is to bring consciousness there and allow that to kind of open inside you. So you awaken on the level of heart, which is heart presence. You awaken on the level of mind, which is to realize the self. And you awaken on the level of gut, which is to open to the fullness of your humanness. So this is the shift in orientation that I'm speaking about, the shift in consciousness. And these things, that they are much deeper than an experience. An experience is when we have a blissful experience and then we just come back to being ourselves. Maybe we go on a meditation retreat, maybe we go on to a festival or whatever it is, and we have an amazing experience. And then when we get home, it's just little old me again. And you know, when is the next festival? When is the next retreat? When is the next time I can get that experience? But that shift of what I'm speaking about, that is what I'm encouraging here. That is what spiritual awakening is about. It is about shifting where you are placing your sense of I. And what I'm seeing in these meetings and in this consistent group meetings is that there are people here who are becoming established in themselves. You know, it's really important to say that one can have an awakening on the level of heart. One can have an awakening on the level of mind, but one could still be severely repressed when it comes to emotions. one could still be severely emotionally illiterate. So all of the three levels are important. They are all important. And, it may come to you in a different order to what I've said. There isn't a kind of textbook about this. It's more like you're just opening to yourself and you're just allowing consciousness to go wherever it wants inside you. So I just wanted to begin the meeting by sharing my thoughts on that. And I hope that is helpful to confirm why we meet, why we're here.